A warm welcome to all participants around the world to today's webinar. We are delighted you could join us for this webinar organized by the European Network of Safety and Healthy Professional Organizations, ENSHPO. My name is Luka Bratec. I come from Association of Safety Engineers Ljubljana in Slovenia, who as proud member of ENSHPO are pleased to be part of today's session. This webinar is hosted and supported by ENSHPO member organization, the Institution of Occupational Safety and Health, IOSH. I will be your moderator for this session, and I'll be joined by a fantastic panel of guest speakers representing our ENSHPO network, who I will introduce to you shortly. Today's webinar will be 1 hour long. We will hear from each speaker, followed by a period of questions and answers. As you hear from our speakers today, please utilize the Zoom question box to ask any questions, and we will answer as many as we can at the end. First, though, for those of you new to ENSHPO, I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce the network. ENSHPO was established in 2001 under the umbrella of European Agency of Health and Safety at Work, EOSH. We engage with decision makers and regulators at the European level, fostering cooperation between European safety and health organizations. We strive to be the leading voice of environmental, health and safety professionals in Europe to promote a safer, healthier world of work. You can find out more at our webpage address www.enshpo.eu. ENSHPO members are representative of EHS organizations across the continent and bring together learnings, innovations, and experiences from their networks. And it's these innovations and experiences we will be hearing about today. Today's webinar will focus on the topic of working at heights. We will have 2 speakers presenting. The first speaker will provide a general overview of working at heights, while the second speaker will concentrate on the equipment necessary for working safely at heights. Let me introduce our first speaker today, Mr. Andreas Chrysos. Andreas Chrysos from Cyprus Safety and Health Association is a highly experienced health and safety specialist with a robust background in civil engineering. He is based in Nicosia, Cyprus, and holds a bachelor degree in civil engineering from the University of Salford and master degree in structural engineering from Imperial College London. He has worked as structural engineer for 6 years in both the UK and Cyprus, contributing to multiple high-profile projects. For the past 3 years, he has been a freelance health and safety consultant specializing in the construction industry. Andreas is an authorized health and safety consultant by the Department of Labor Inspection of Cyprus and is a technical member of IOSH. He is currently studying for the NEBUSH diploma and aims to become a chartered member of IOSH. In his presentation, Mr. Chrysos will focus on a critical aspect of workplace safety, working at heights. Hello, Mr. Chrysos. Welcome to our event.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Chrysos, could I ask you to share your screen with us?
Of course. Yes.
Could you please? Oh, okay. Presentation looks great. The floor is yours. Please start.
Thank you very much. So, welcome everyone. Today we are focusing on a critical aspect of workplace safety, work at height. This includes any task where there's a risk of a fall that could lead to personal injury. We're talking about activities ranging from using ladders to working on scaffolds or even near open excavations. Understanding these scenarios help us recognize the risks and the necessary precautions to take. In the next slides, we'll see 7 examples of work at height that we commonly use, and with a few risks associated with each example. First example is the step ladder, which I believe everybody have used one. The risk associated with this is falling from the ladder due to loss of balance or overreaching, ladder collapse due to improper setup or structural failure, slippery ground surface leading to slips, or using the top step or positioning the ladder unsafely. Another work example of the work at height is works on telecommunication towers, and the associated risks are, of course, falling from heights due to improper use of safety equipment or losing grip, increased risk in poor weather conditions such as rain or high winds, and physical fatigue from climbing and working at heights, and failure of harnesses, ropes, or anchor points. Another two examples of work at height is, of course, scaffolding, which is very commonly seen in construction sites. And the associated risks are falling from the scaffold due to lack of guardrails or improper use of harnesses, scaffold collapse due to poor construction or overloading, tools or materials falling from height potentially injuring workers below, unsafe methods of accessing the scaffolds leading to falls. Another example is working on roofs and is normally in renovation projects. So the associated risks with roof works include falling from the roof edge through skylights or roof openings, slipping on wet or uneven surfaces, tripping over equipment, roofs that are structurally unsound or slippery, poor visibility due to fog, snow, or rain, increasing fall risk. Another very big example of work at height is the work with the mobile elevated work platforms, MEWPs. The associated risks include falling from the platform due to improper use of safety harness or guardrails, the platform tipping over due to uneven ground or overloading, getting caught between the platform and fixed structures, equipment failure leading to sudden drops or instability. The last two examples of work at height, starting with working near deep excavations. Normally, we have deep excavations when we construct the foundations of towers. So the associated risks are falling into the excavation due to lack of barriers or improper edge protection, excavation sites collapsing, burying workers, uneven ground and loose material causing slips and trips, accumulation of toxic gases or lack of oxygen in deep excavations. The last example we are presenting today is the window cleaning on high-rise buildings. The associated risks include falling from suspended platforms due to equipment failure or improper use, instability caused by high winds or sudden weather changes, failure of suspension systems, ropes, or safety harnesses, mistakes in securing equipment or handling tools. Now let's see very briefly some general guidelines about work at height. Employers must perform a comprehensive risk assessment prior to work at height, identifying hazards such as fragile surfaces, falling objects, and environmental conditions. All findings and control measures should be documented and regularly reviewed by competent personnel. Develop a plan that outlines the scope of work, methods to be used, and safety measures in place. Ensure that competent personnel supervise all works at height operations. Consider alternatives that eliminate the need for work at height, such as using extendable tools or equipment that can be operated from the ground. Integrate design solutions that minimize or avoid the need for work at height in the first place. Choose equipment that is appropriate for the task and conditions, such as ladders, scaffolds, MEWPs, or rope access systems. Ensure all equipment is regularly inspected, maintained according to manufacturer guidelines. Inspections should be performed by competent individuals. Use guardrails, barriers, or edge protections to prevent falls from occurring. Implement fall arrest systems like safety nets, harnesses, and lifelines to minimize injury if a fall occurs. Create safe zones below work areas to protect workers from falling objects. Prioritize collective protective measures that safeguard multiple workers simultaneously, such as scaffolding with guardrails. Provide comprehensive training to all workers on safe work practices, equipment use, and emergency procedures. Regularly assess the competency of workers to ensure they can perform their tasks safely and effectively. Now about the emergency and rescue procedures. Develop, communicate clear emergency procedures for quick response in case of accidents. Ensure rescue equipment is readily available and workers are trained in its use. Conduct regular emergency drills to ensure preparedness. Lastly, the inspection by competent people. Conduct regular inspections of work areas, equipment, and safety systems by competent personnel. Ensure compliance with safety regulations and standards through thorough inspections and corrective actions. Here we're about to see some stats based on global scale with reference to the IPAF Global Safety Reports. And it's mainly based on workers who use the lifting platforms. So let's see the statistics for occupational accidents from work at height. The most incidents of fatal and non-fatal injuries have happened from falling from platforms. The most incidents of fatal injuries have happened from falling from platforms and then from electrocution incidents. The most incidents of fatal and non-fatal injuries have happened in the construction industry, with big difference from the other industries. Let's analyze a bit further the fall from platform incident type that we have seen in the previous slide. The three most frequently used lifting platforms during accidents were the mobile vertical, which is basically forklifts and scissor lifts, the mobile boom, which is the articulated boom lift and telescopic boom lifts, and the static booms like cherry pickers, cranes, and other heavy machinery. Let's see some more statistics. In Australia, in 2019, falls from height accounted for 23% of all worker fatalities. In 2020, there were 880 fatal falls in the US, accounting for 12% of all workplace deaths. According to the HSE, falls from height accounted for 29% of all fatal injuries to workers in 2020-2021 in the UK. According to National Crime Records Bureau, falls from height accounted for 10% of all fatal accidents in 2019 in India. And this is very critical. It is estimated that more than 500,000 people die each year due to falls, with many of these deaths occurring in the workplace. Now that we have reviewed examples of work at height and their associated risks and general safety guidelines and some global statistics, let's explore the common underlying causes of work at height accidents. So first of all, overconfidence. For example, an experienced worker may decide to skip routine safety training, assuming it is unnecessary given their experience. Another common cause is the poorly maintained equipment. For instance, continuing to use a forklift with hydraulic leaks or one that has surpassed its scheduled maintenance date can be particularly risky. Insufficient planning. A lack of planning can lead to the improper selection of machinery and safety equipment, which may result in fatal accidents. For example, for the selection of the most suitable machinery, the factors to be considered include space restrictions, weight capacity, movement type, power source, and others. Lack of knowledge. Workers who are not adequately trained about the risks associated with their specific tasks are more likely to be involved in fatal accidents. Lack of communication and coordination. For example, on a construction site involving multiple workers, failing to communicate effectively about potential hazards can lead to accidents. Misuse of equipment. Examples include using a forklift to lift people standing on the forks, overloading machinery, operating while people are elevated, or using machinery on uneven ground. And the last cause, improper selection of personal protective equipment. For example, PPE that does not fit properly can easily fall when working at height, posing serious risks. All previously mentioned causes of work from height accidents are linked to inadequate risk management. Inadequate risk management often stems from human error, significantly increasing the risk of accidents and injuries. When risks are poorly assessed and training is insufficient, workers may misuse equipment or overlook critical safety measures. These oversights not only endanger the individuals involved, but can also disrupt the entire project. Implementing effective risk management is crucial to minimize this error and ensure a safe work environment. In this slide, we can see a few ways to minimize the human error we said earlier, which will lead to adequate risk management and fewer accidents, hopefully. Starting with education. Frequent, good quality, and specialized training is required in this section. About communication, by encouraging open lines of communication between management and employee for feedback and reporting concerns. Planning properly each job to try to find appropriate equipment, machinery, and PPE. Safety culture. Enforce safety with fines or rewards. Management to lead by example. Ensure regular maintenance on equipment and machinery. Ensure compliance with local legislations and or relevant certifications. Regular inspections from competent people, and by adopting new technologies that minimize the direct exposure of humans to high-risk environments. In conclusion, while human error is often cited as an inevitable part of accidents, it's crucial to understand the following points. Work at height accidents are most likely to happen in all industries globally. A big percentage of work at height accidents are fatal. Same applies for electrocution accidents. Fall from lifting platforms are the main cause of work at height accidents. Therefore, it is crucial that all lifting platforms are maintained and inspected regularly. Work at height is a key topic for training. Management to lead by example. And PPE is considered the last line of defense because it relies solely on the worker to use it correctly every time. It does not eliminate the hazard, nor does it reduce the risk at the source. Lastly, let's take a moment to consider an important insight from Ignacio d'Oreste. Human errors are frequently perceived as unavoidable factors leading to accidents, despite the fact that the true underlying cause behind human actions often have organizational origins. From this statement, it is emphasized that the roots of human errors are consequences of inadequate organizational policies, procedures, or conditions which set the stage for errors to occur. Therefore, addressing the systemic issues at the organizational level could be more effective in preventing accidents rather than focusing solely on the individuals involved. So thank you very much. That's the end of the presentation.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Jesus. I would ask you to stay with us until the end for the Q&A session. I'm sure that we will have some question for you.
Thank you very much.
Now let's go to our second and other speaker. So let me introduce Ms. Serena Micucci. Serena Micucci is a digital strategist and communication expert, also serving as a safety trainer for work at heights at Faraone Industrie. With a focus on promoting workplace safety, Faraone Industrie, an Italian-based company, specializes in manufacturing equipment designed for work at heights, including ladders, scaffolds, and aerial platforms. Serena's role reflects her dedication to enhancing communication strategies while advocating for safety initiatives within the company and beyond. Ms. Serena Micucci will speak today about the proper equipment for working safely at heights, with a particular focus on how to use it correctly in accordance with established standards. So, welcome, Ms. Serena. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Now I would kindly ask you if you could share your screen with us.
Yes, of course. Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay. Thank you for inviting me today, and thank you for joining this session. Since we don't have much time, I will try to give you some insights, especially about the European laws for these kinds of products. So today we will talk about ladders, scaffoldings, mobile work platforms, and other pickers. They are regulated by different European standards, and I will try to give you some insights in this short time we have together. Please note that if I can't answer some questions today, you can contact me, there is no problem, and I will try to give you all the information I have. So let's start with ladders. So ladders are regulated by the European standard UNI EN 131. As you can see, there are different parts, and each part is dedicated to a specific requirement of the ladder. Here, I will start with giving you the definition of a ladder. According to the standard, the ladder is a device incorporated steps or ranks on which a person may step to ascend or descend, which can be transported and set up by hand. So I will give you a brief classification, a short classification of the types of ladders, the most popular ladders. We have the single section ladder, that is a ladder consisting only, a linear ladder consisting only of one part. Then we have the multi-purpose ladder, that is a ladder consists of 2 or 3 parts that can be used in different ways, such as a standing ladder, as an extended ladder, or as a standing ladder with an extended piece. We have the telescopic ladders that can be used also in different ways, like a standing ladder or as an extended ladder. And then we have the classical step ladders that can be unilaterally or bilaterally climbable. And finally, we have the mobile ladders with platforms. These types of ladders, we will focus also on this type of ladders because they have different requirements from the other ones. So the EN131 is a result of many years of studies, and it tried to give more, to ensure more safety while using ladders. Today, we will focus on 3 points: wider, stronger, and sturdier. So what do we mean by wider? In 2019, there were some significant updates, and there was the introduction, the obligation for ladders longer than 3 meters to use a support base with a maximum width of 1.2 meters. So when you buy a ladder, you will see that there are some stabilizing bars across the bottom, or you will see that the shape of the ladder is leaning outwards. And so the trunk is narrow and the base is always wider. And also we can have stabilizing legs, telescopic, that project outwards and give a safer base because it is wider. Also, this standard states that in convertible ladders, if the second and third section are longer than 3 meters, they can no longer be detached because they wouldn't have the wider base, so they cannot be used as single elements. Right now, we are going to go to the second point, that is stronger. So there were in 2017 some significant updates on ladders in the EN 131.2. So right now we have the classification between professional and non-professional ladders. Professional ladders can be used for professional purposes, but also domestic if you want a ladder that is even safer. And non-professional ladders that are only for domestic users, so they cannot be used at work. Both these ladders have 150 kilos of maximum total load. With maximum total load, it's not only the weight of the operator, but the total weight of anything. So no more than 150 kilos. How do we make this classification between professional and non-professional? The main difference is the durability. As you can see here, the ladders are tested, and with this durability test, the ladder is placed on a surface and it is secured to fixed parts. And 2 equal loads are applied to 2 different steps. And this load application continues until the ladder can no longer maintain the weight or it has reached the cycles. We have this test as a criteria of the 10,000 cycles for the non-professional class and 50,000 cycles for the professional class. Now, for the sturdier point, we will talk about the EN 131.7, that is about mobile ladders with platforms. These ladders are different than the other kinds. They are designed and manufactured to prevent the accidental slipping of the product or the user, because they are built differently. They must ensure that the operator is protected, and also they need to have guardrails to protect frontally the operator. And this protection system, however, must allow the operator to ascend or descend the ladder freely. Also, these ladders have a different test. They must pass the lateral overturning test. With regular ladders, there is the problem that they might overturn due to a simple imbalance of the ladder. But these types of ladders are tested, and the test simulates an operator that working towards the wall is subjected to a lateral force. So the ladder must remain in place without overturning. So as we can see, this ensures that the ladder doesn't overturn and that is safer. So it can be used for professional purposes. Lastly, in the 131.3, we have some instruction, the user instruction and the markings. The manufacturer is responsible for all the safety markings, all the user instructions that must be read before using a ladder. Repairs and maintenance must be carried out by a competent person. And if there are some problems with the ladders, we always need to contact the manufacturer. Also, ladders should be stored in accordance with the manufacturer instructions. Here is an example with everything you will have by buying a ladder. You have some markings, you have the serial number, you have the law, and you have also all these markings and the user instruction and the certificate. These are the minimum requirements for markings. Depending on the type of ladders that you will buy, you will have different markings, but these ones are available on all professional ladders. In fact, they're not very specific. We have to consult the user instructions, to inspect the ladder. We have some information about the maximum number of users, and also the classification between domestic and professional use. So what happens if you have obsolete ladders? Laws don't apply retroactively. However, if laws also tell you that you must use the safest equipment that you can use. So you have to prioritize ladders that are safe and that are to the current standards. And always ensure that your ladder is certificated, always ask for proof. And also, if you see a ladder with a CE mark, that is not possible, it's illegal, and so it's not a real certificate. Always remember to use the right ladder for the task and undergo proper training. So right now we will talk about scaffolding. And the scaffolds are mobile towers that are made up of prefabricated elements, and they are regulated by the UNI EN 1004. This law was updated on 2021 to ensure more safety. So what changed? Basically, right now, you cannot use scaffolding like the picture because we can only have a single base structure. Also, only one platform can be a working platform at a time. Also, very, very important is that the mobile tower, the mobile access and working tower must be designed so they can be assembled and dismantled without the need of personal fall protection equipment. As you can see here, we have the old system where the operator is not protected, and the new system where the operator is protected on all sides. Also, you can only have a working platform, and the lower platforms are intermediate platforms. So right now, you can only work on one platform, and that platform has to have the toe boards, like these ones. Also, there was a change in the vertical distance between the platforms, that the vertical distance between the ground and the first platform shall not be greater than 3.40 meters. There was a change also, the floor height is from 0 to 12 meters, but only 8 meter maximum for outside work. And right now we will talk a bit about order pickers and mobile work platforms. In the picture, they look very similar, but they are really different. And they also are regulated by two different laws. So let's start with an order picker. The order picker is a machine that is designed exclusively to transport, lift, and arrange goods. And it is operated by an operator that can be positioned at the driving station. And it can also, like in the picture, be raised with the load handling. It refers to the UNI EN 3691 standard that gives indication on the technical and construction requirements. The key feature are that they can only be used for transporting things or handling goods, and the operators must be trained and have a forklift license. There is no need to register the machine to the authority, and also the maintenance program are established by the manufacturer. Also, you don't need the personal protection equipment with these machines. And also they have that switch pedal usually. So to move this platform, you need to put the foot on the pedal and also on the switch at the same time. Otherwise, the machine won't move. And they can move upward and forward simultaneously. So the pros are that they cannot, they don't need to be registered. They are safer, they are ergonomic. They allow you to work in different working nights. They don't need annual inspection. And the cons are that you can use them only for good handling and not for other types of work. Right now, let's talk about mobile work platforms. They are some machines that are needed to perform temporary work exceeding 2 meters with the intention that individuals have a defined access position. So they can usually access the platform on the ground level or from the carrier. They can only be used for maintenance work at height with operating work. They need operators that are properly trained with license, and also they need the personal protection equipment. Here we have the list with full body harness, safety helmet. They need professional shoes, protective gloves, safety glasses. They have mandatory annual inspections that are carried out by a specialized technicians. Also, they need to be registered to the competent authority of your country. So they allow to work safely at height. They reduce times for work, and also yes, it's safer. Work can be done effectively and without the use of ladders. And the cons are that they need a license, they need to be registered, and they have a mandatory annual verifications. Both the picking machine and the order picker and the platforms have a required documentation. As you can see here, we have the technical dossier, the declaration of conformity, the user and maintenance manual, and also each machine has an informative plaque with all the references, such as the manufacturer, the model, the year of construction, the serial number, the capacity, and so much more. All this information must be kept with the machine. So always have it with you if you have this type of machines. In the technical dossier, you have all the general description of the machine, all the drawings, the calculation, the test, all the technical information about the machine. Here are some examples of the CE conformity. There are some certificates. And also the user and maintenance manual is really important because you will have all the information about the machine. So how they must operate, the maintenance, the information. It is an integral part of the machine, so always keep it with the machine and also in your office. And this was my presentation. I hope I gave you some insights about these products, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you for your presentation as well. I will also ask you to stay with us and join us for the Q&A session. We have a few questions for both of you. So Andreas, I will also ask you if you can join us with video and unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi again.
So we'll go through a few of questions and I will see who will be the most appropriate to answer. So the first one is quite general but basic but very important. Maybe Andreas, you will be able to answer it. And the question is, what is the minimum height for walking at heights?
What do you mean? Where you want the guardrails?
Probably. So the question goes, what is the minimum height for working at heights? So at which height we are talking that this is working at heights?
That's probably so the local legislations may for each country have a specific answer for that. So I cannot answer that for any country. I can answer that for my country, for example. However,
yes,
if
can
I
you
have been
answer for
given,
your country?
so for 2 meters height, it is required to have guardrails. However, accidents can happen from 40 centimeters.
Okay. So as we saw in a comment, there is no minimum height basically.
Yeah.
There is another question that I believe you will be the most appropriate to answer. Are working at height accidents really the most likely to happen in all industries globally? I would have thought slips, trips, and falls would be more common.
So yes, the accidents at height are the most likely to happen, and slips, trips, and falls are the second in the line. So, however, it depends from the organization who issues the statistics, and also falls at the same level are counted on the slips, trips.
Okay. I don't know if anyone will be able to answer the next one, but it would be interested to get this statistic. So the question goes like this. Could you inform if there are available national or international statistics about fatalities and major accidents while working at heights that allow identifying the proportion of victims who are immigrants? Is there any initiative to address this matter at international level?
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
So, okay, based on what I know, the Department of Labor Inspection of my country issues statistics every year. So you can see accidents happening and you can see the statistics of the accidents, the incident type, and even the country of the person who are the people who are involved in the accident. So I suppose you can find some information from the competent Department of Labor Inspection of your country.
So when reporting in reports to the authorities, there is a box when you check the nationality, and from there you could get the statistics.
Yes.
Okay.
And also if it is a male or female, and the age, and many other information about every person. So I suppose from the government you can get this information.
Now I have a question for Serena. If you
Yes.
unmute yourself, please.
Yes.
So there is a wish if you can share more information with us on the point that ladders cannot be CE marked.
Well, they just don't are because usually the CE mark means that the ladders are tested by another how do you say in English, a competent authority. So it is just another type of certification that we have for ladders.
Okay. Maybe Serena, if you will be able to answer this one. Giselle Braga is occupational health and safety manager in Portugal in the construction sector, and she has a question related to older equipment, namely scaffolding. Since ladders are equipment that degrade faster and therefore change more often, can they, as with other equipment according to the machinery directive, be subject to assessment by a competent entity so that they comply with the current directive?
Well, the control today are much more restricted. So yes, you can assess the products so they comply with the current directive.
Okay. I have another question from George Dermanin. Question concerns works at height equipment, particularly complex ladders and tower scaffolds. While many employers provide user instructions, he's not convinced that this is sufficient. How do you ensure that users are adequately trained and knowledgeable enough to safely set up and use this equipment? Maybe you, Serena.
Yeah, through training. Like we offer many training courses, and we also teach the practical part, so we can make sure that all the operators know how to set up, because only theory is not enough. So more training, and they will learn how to use them safely.
So in your company, you also provide trainings how to use all the equipment.
Yeah, we also provide practical training with the products, so they can use them correctly.
Okay. Another question maybe for Andreas now. What do you think about the chin strap for working at height activities?
I'm not familiar with chin strap.
So chin strap maybe for a helmet, if I understand correctly.
Maybe I can
the chin strap.
Maybe if I can answer that later to have a picture to understand what is this. Thank you.
Okay. Then I have another one for Serena. Serena, are pickers exempt from annual inspections if they raise the user too, or do they come under the same rules as personal elevators?
For the order pickers, you have the maintenance according to the manufacturer. So you will have all the information on the manual, and you will have all the information about the yeah. But it's not mandatory, annual mandatory inspection like the mobile work platforms.
Okay. Another question. Both of you can answer if you want. It's about reminding employees about safety when working on heights. So based on your experience, what is the most effective way to remind workers that they have to follow safety rules? They have a lot of problems with people that they are doing this forever the old way. So what is the most effective way to retrain workers that forget to follow safety rules? Maybe both of you can share your experience with that.
Yeah. Well, it's not simple. Like we deal with that every day. I think the most important way is to share safety culture between the operators, and to do anything you can to let them know that by using equipment in the correct way, they will not have problems, they will not have accidents. it's not simple. We do everything we can as manufacturers to share this idea with the world, but it's not simple. We are working for it.
Andreas, maybe do you have any good
Yes.
examples or experience with that? What is really effective?
Yes. So what I believe is that with regular training of the employees and the management as well, the management to lead by example, and with regular inspections from the management to the workers, I believe that this can happen. So we can increase the safety culture this way. Now about the chin strap, I believe that yes, it is required. Now I have seen the picture of what it is.
Okay.
It is required, so it fixes the helmet. It fixes the helmet, so it's good to have that. Yes, so we prevent it from falling.
A very simple question. I wonder if you can have a simple answer. What should we do if we discover a broken ladder?
I need to answer it.
Yes.
Well, if you discover a broken ladder that cannot be, firstly, you cannot use it. And then you can check if it can be repaired, or otherwise you need to buy a new ladder to change the ladder. But with the law, you also have that each ladder before the use must be inspected. So if you have a broken ladder, you cannot use it anymore.
Maybe Andreas, you're now in construction sector. What do you recommend to do?
Whenever we see a broken ladder, we just throw it away. I think we cannot really fix it. And in order to increase safety and reduce accidents, the best solution is to just recycle it.
Maybe one question here with broken ladders for you, Serena. Can we repair the ladder as manufacturer? Is this possible, or when is it?
Well, it depends on the singular cases. Sometimes you can repair it because maybe a broken ladder is just that it needs like some parts that you can buy, or maybe you can send it to the manufacturer to repair it. It depends on the cases. Sometimes you cannot use it anymore. It depends.
Okay. We have another question from Brazil. The colleague is would like to know, questioning. He would like to know if the European norms are mandatory in all European countries, and if yes, what are the legal instruments to make this binding?
Well, yes, they are mandatory, but also we also have national norm standards for each country. So in Italy, we also have some Italian laws that are similar to the European ones, and also we have some entities that make this binding because they are some authorities that come and check if everything is correct.
Okay. So for you, Serena, a question from Malta. They don't know if you have a representative over there, and if your representative over there is providing a training service.
Yeah, I think we have some representatives in Malta, but I'm not sure. You should send me an email and I will send you all the information. But we have some distributor in Malta.
Okay. I think Andreas will be the most appropriate one to answer the next one. From your experience, what controls are used for working at height on flatbed trucks, offloading materials, or from mobile crane platforms?
Okay.
Unloaded trucks. So,
Okay, so regular inspections, maintenances, of course, the certificates for the legal compliance. So, for example, in the European countries, due to the legislations, the local legislations of each country, this kind of lifting machinery, they need some special certifications, and yes, that's it. And also the personal protective equipment to be used, the full protection equipment to be used when using this equipment, this machinery.
Okay, I'm not sure that any of us is familiar with statistic of accidents at height that happens in firefighters. So
I have no.
For Slovenia, firefighters are exception from the health and safety law. I don't know how it's in your countries.
It is the same for my country.
Okay.
And the army as well. It's exempt from the legislation.
Another question for you, Serena. If the sticker or instruction sticker falls off the ladder, can we as worker buy a new one and reinstall it to the ladder, or should the professional do the inspection of the ladder and then he marks the ladder again with sticker?
Well, it depends, because if the manufacturer doesn't know which is your ladder, they will not take the responsibility for it. So you need to have all the documentation about the ladder, and so it depends.
Okay. Then I have a question. Is IPEF or PESMA certificates valid in Spain or Italy? Maybe Serena, if you know for the Italy. IPEF certificates, that's Elevated Work Platforms organization that provides international trainings for this. And are those certificates recognized in Italy?
I'm not sure, actually. I will have to check it.
Okay. Do you know, Andreas, are they recognized as appropriate in Cyprus?
I have to check on it. I'm not sure about this.
Okay. I will check if I will have another interesting question. Not in Q&A session. Let me just quickly look in the chat if I can find. Okay, maybe this one. Is being anchored on a fully and safety scaffolding necessary?
It's for me. Yeah.
Yes, you.
Who do you want to answer?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Is being anchored on a fully and safely probably scaffolding necessary? So I guess if scaffold has all the handrails and guardrails on, does it necessary to anchor yourself?
Well, according to the new law, if you construct the scaffold according to the law and to the manufacturer instruction, it is not necessary, but you have to follow all the instruction. Otherwise, it depends. It depends also on what your safety manager is recommended. But according to the law, they can be dismantled and constructed without using it. So it's not mandatory, but it depends on the cases. And also you need to follow exactly the rules, the instruction of the manufacturer.
So if the scaffolding is assembled according to the manufacturer's instructions, then it's not necessary.
Yeah, because as you could see in the presentation, if it is built according to the instructions, there is no risk of falling, because the operator, while going up, it is already, all sides are already built, so there is no risk. But also, if you think it is necessary, it's not wrong to use it.
Okay. This was the last question for today, since the hour for ending our webinar here. So
yeah,
thank you all for joining us today for the Safety at Heights webinar. We hope you find the session informative and useful. Special thanks to you speakers for sharing your expertise and insights with us. Your contributions have been invaluable. We also want to extend our gratitude to IOSH for their support and collaboration in making this event possible. So if you have any further question and need more information, please feel free to reach out. We will try to give back the information that you were asking for. So thanks again for being here. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you at our future event. Have a great day.
thank you.
Bye. Thank you.